Now, another feature of Hellenism was this unified Greek language, this koine, as they call it, Greek language, the common koine. Here's how you spell koine. Koine, K-O-I-N-E, koine Greek, was common Greek. It was like what I call street Greek. And it was from 300 BC to 300 AD. Now here's the problem. They're in Alexandria, okay, Egypt, in Alexandria in Egypt. They're wanting to collect all the books of the world. One of the most famous books of the world is the Hebrew Scriptures, the Torah, the law, the prophets, and the writings, okay, Tanakh, okay, the law, the prophets, and the writing, the three sections of the Jewish Old Testament, okay, the Torah being the law, okay, the instructions. So what they did was they Ptolemy commissioned in Egypt. Ptolemy commissioned in Egypt, he said, you know, we need a copy of the Jewish Scripture, but nobody here can really read Hebrew. And so what happened was they said, we've got to get it translated from Hebrew into Greek. We've got to get it translated from Hebrew into Greek. So what happened was they translated it from Hebrew into Greek, and it's called the Septuagint. The Septuagint, or the Septuagint, it's pronounced various ways by various people I've heard, but the Septuagint, or the Septuagint, okay? And it's abbreviated like this, LXX. Now, do you notice LXX is what? X and X is the Roman numeral for 10 and 10, and then L is 50, so this is 70, 70. Septa means 7. Hex, well, penta means 5. Hex means 6, hexagon. An octagon is 8, and a septagon is 7. Septa. So septa means 70, so 70. Now, somebody asked me in class, what does the 70 stand for? Well, rumor has it that when Ptolemy hired these guys, he hired 70 guys for 70 days, and these 70 guys for 70 days translated the whole Old Testament. Now, I just want to tell you, I've been a translator, and when this is in the 2000s, no 70 translators can translate the whole Old Testament in 70 days. That's absolutely absurd. Okay, so that rumor of 70 translators in 70 days translating the whole Old Testament, that's crazy. But my guess is they got a good start on it. You get 70 guys, you get 70 translators, they can do a lot of work and things, but they're translating from Hebrew into Greek. Okay, Hebrew to Greek. This gives us then, around 250 to 150 BC, this gives us the Septuagint translation. This is about 150, 200 years, let's just say 200 years before Christ. You've got a Greek Bible. You've got a Greek Bible. What is the importance of this Septuagint? This is really important. The Septuagint basically goes, once you've got the Bible in Greek, let's just take the Hebrew Bible. You've got a Hebrew Bible in Jerusalem, the Tanakh, okay? The law, the prophets, and the writings. You've got a Bible in Jerusalem in Hebrew. Who can read that book? If you take that book to Egypt, can they read it? And the answer is no, they don't read Hebrew. If you take it up to Turkey, can they read it? No, they don't. Take it over to Greece, they can't read it. You take it over to Mesopotamia, they can't read it. It can be read in Israel because of the Hebrew language barrier. Now, Ptolemy gets it translated, the Hebrew Bible, into Greek. Now you take the Greek Bible. Can the Greek Bible go down to Egypt? Can people in Egypt read it? Yes, they can. Can people in Greece read it? Yes, they can. Can people in Turkey read it because it's in Greek? Yes, they can. Mesopotamia, can they read it? Yes, they can. You take it all the way to Rome. Can Romans read it? Yes, they can. So now, all of a sudden, the Bible, the Old Testament, is allowed to spread throughout the whole world, and people can read it now. This is incredible. By the way, does this set up now, people, when they read the Old Testament all over the world, are they going to be aware that the Old Testament tells them that there is a coming Messiah who's going to be the son of David, who's going to rule? So now, all of a sudden, the world can know the Old Testament stories that set up for Jesus Christ coming 150, 200 years later. So the Septuagint was a wonderful thing to spread, allow Judaism to be spread all over so people understood things so that they could... so that the gospel could spread. Because now wherever Paul would go, he'd go into the synagogues, they would have Greek Bibles that the people there could read and things, and so therefore the gospel could spread on the back of the Septuagint. It was really an incredible thing. So the Septuagint is incredible. By the way, when Paul and others in the New Testament quote, a lot of times they'll quote out of the Septuagint. So when they do quotes, they won't be quoting from the Hebrew text, they'll be quoting from the Septuagint Greek text. So that was done under the Ptolemies around 200 when the Ptolemies were good friends with the Jews. Ptolemies were tolerant. Ptolemies were tolerant. The Seleucids were not tolerant. Egypt translated the Septuagint, and they were tolerant to the Jews. They ruled from about 300 to 200.